Yes, thank you. Thank you, Becky. So today it is also live in my Facebook page. So I have about 18,000 friends who subscribe. So I'm an author from India. I'm also a speaker and a business coach and a project leader for the Ultimate Experience India edition. And thank you, Ranjan, for creating this project in India. Welcome all of you. And today, Farah is going to introduce Becky. It's an honor, Becky Robbins, you being here, addressing all of us. And this will be shared. It is already shared. Even this recording will be shared with all our members. So thank you, Saloni, for being here. So it's shall we start, Farah?
Absolutely. First of all, a warm welcome, Becky, Andrea, and everybody else who's on this call. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. It's a pleasure for us to have you in this meeting. Of course, many of us from India are joining in at it's about 9 in the evening today, and so this is like the perfect time for us to connect with you in across the globe. So thank you again. And Becky, I just can't tell you how excited we are to welcome you into our world, to see you very soon, and today to have you. So before we get started, I'd like to first introduce you to our audience who are going to be seeing this live in this room, or it's going to be telecast across all our channels. And so for everyone, just want to say that Becky Robbins is a pioneer in the world of personal development. And of course, I want to say that one of the things that we will always know about her is she's a master at finding, seeing opportunities in life. And that's something we want to talk about as well. And if we all know that Becky Robbins is the first wife of Tony Robbins, and created a very, very thriving business in the world. And of course, before she went on to create magic in her life through art. Of course, that's all I know about you, and I can't wait to get to know more about you. But I just want to say warm welcome from all of us, and want to say, just pause here and invite you to share how you're feeling to be amongst us today.
Well, thank you.
Sarah,
I'm so happy to see you. Please.
Absolutely, Steve.
This is Steve, but I don't have any video. I'm not sure how to do it, but I just want to say something. You've heard this statement, behind every great man, there's this great woman.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's no truer than this situation. No truer than this situation. The woman we have on the phone right now, her depth and breadth of self-development and process of what to do to seek being is extraordinary. Thanks for taking time to be with us, Becky.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here too. It's interesting. I'm a good sleeper, but I didn't sleep a lot last night because what just kept coming into my awareness was all of you, and the fact that I get to have the privilege of going to India to be with you, which you know from my conversations with Ranjan and BNS and others that I love India so much. So when Ranjan called me one evening and said, like, I want you to come to India, I said, okay, well, let me look at my calendar and see if that's something I could actually do, is come to India. And then I think a couple of days later, I got a hold of him and I said, yes, I've decided I absolutely want to be in India. Like, why would I not be in India? And then he said, would you speak in India? We'd like to have you be a speaker. I thought, well, it's actually not what I do for a living. It's not what, but the thing about this that's so powerful, and I think why last night was one of those special nights, of not sleeping well, is because I'm so excited to share with you what's happened to me. And that's the most important thing I could share, is what's happened to me since the beginning of this year. And now we're almost at the end of this year. So it's been an incredible thing, because as Steve, you just said, and you, Farah, I've been in this world a long time. And I think I've read most of the how-to and self-help books out in the world. And so when I was given the book by a friend who she was amazing. She came and stayed with me after I had a knee surgery, and she had the book with her. And so we were going to read it together. And then I got my own. And as I was reading, yeah, thank you. That's I have my own right here, always with me, handy. And it has all, I love it that it's all like, it's dog-eared and underlined. And what I want to say about that is when I first got the book, since no one gave me an instruction on how to read the book, I just started opening the pages, and I was looking I made the mistake out of habit for looking for the kinds of things that are in self-help books. And it's a completely different book. And I got that right away because as I started reading different parts of the book, there's a part that stunned me. And the story, which I'm sure you know, having read the book, and if you haven't, go back and read this again, and then you'll know way more about the magical power of who you're being when you're really, really committed to that. And it was the story about a gentleman who it was having very big business problems. He was a husband and a father of 2 children, and he was considering suicide because he felt so burdened by everything, and that his wife would be better off without him, and his children could go on and have a fine life. And he thought about that all night. And then the next morning he was outside, and his wife came and said, "Here's a robe for you. Steve Hardison is at the door." And Steve Hardison had walked into his house, and this man said, like, "How did you even know where I live? And how did you know to come here?" And Steve said, "You've been with me all night. I've been with you all night." I have chills as I'm thinking of this, because that is the man that this book is written about. And when you're that tuned in to who you're being in being of service to others, those kinds of things are going to happen to all of us on this phone call, where we have the opportunity to create miracles for one another. So that one story in the book got me hooked. And I said, I just have to know more about this man. And my history in the business of coaching and in the business of personal development, yes, I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful I've had all these experiences and life and stories that come from it. And people have said, "Oh, you should write a book." But the book I would write now is not the book about that. That is like such a different girl than this one. And by next year, I'll be a whole different version of this person again, because of having found this. So I want to tell you a couple more things. I think that this book is a living being, because it's changing for me all the time. And also, I mean, I have the Audible version where I live in my car. I mean, I drive, I don't live in my car, but it feels like that sometimes. In California, we drive a lot. So I listen to it, and I listen to it where I paint. You're in my studio right now. And I'm always hearing something that I'll like pause it and listen to it again, because I'm different all the time. And that's one thing I want to say. And the other thing is, as soon as I've started finding out about the document, I read the document in the book, of course, and the chapter about the document. And it is a much more powerful thing than anything I've ever discovered, because if you really embody it, every single thing in life will be altered by that. I say that because my instructions from Steve were to record my document myself in my voice. I gave it to a couple of my kids too. I have 3 children. 2 of them recorded for me, like my mom is, or she is, Becky is. And the first thing I do in the morning, even when I get up early and it's still pretty dark out, I turn that on and I listen to that. And then the very last thing at night, I get in bed, I turn off all the lights, and I push play on my phone, and I listen to it again. And there's a lot of power in that, because you become what you think about most. So I want to encourage that, because if you haven't finished a document, go back and read exactly those instructions, because it's not an affirmation. It's a different thing than an affirmation. An affirmation is easy for your ego to say, no, that's not true about me. Like, I'll never be that, or I'm not that already. This is a different way for you to embody that. And there's a couple more things I want to say. I have urgency about this, and I think that is built into us right now. And I think not just the urgency of the event. And one of the things that I loved hearing Steve talk about last week was that this isn't about getting people to read the book or although we want them to. It's not about getting people in the room. It's about influencing people to really get it, that who they are being in every instance, like all throughout the day. Who am I being the whole day? That's what we want to encourage people. So when they show up at the door of the event, I mean, it'll be the most amazing celebration, and that influence will spread far and wide to people that would never have even been in that room. It'll just, the processional effects will ripple out to so.
Becky, can I request you to unmute yourself via the phone? Yes, thanks. I think we were trying to mute everyone because we had some unmuted. Thank you, Becky.
Sure. I was just going to mention you, Farah, because I think it was you on the last call that I listened in on that talked about having a to-be list. I think that was you. And I started doing that this past week, and I've got a lot of moving parts to my life. I've got children and grandchildren and the holidays and all my other work projects. And I did that. I just started creating, like the to-be list, and then inserted all of the kinds of things that I needed to do this week and then this coming week, and what I needed to do and how to do those through my being. How am I being to do that? Because it's like rocket fuel. If you start out that way, and nothing has ever taught me that before, of all the things that I know, nothing's ever taught me that before about being. So thank you for that. Just that simple thing about my to-be list. I want to talk for a minute about two things. One is being your word. And when Steve brought that up to me in a session that I had with him, I said, I do keep my word. I don't lie. I do what I say I'll do. And he had me dig a little bit deeper with that. And I mean, I feel like I have integrity, that I live my life that way. And however, there's a whole deeper dig you can do with that will really, really powerfully enhance your life. And it's kind of a daily thing. It's like, do what I say I'll do, even unto myself. So like, yes, I do what I say I'll do for my kids because that's how I create them trusting me. But for me to trust me, like not saying I'm going to work out today and then I don't, or I need to clean out my closets and organize my closets, and then year after year they're the same way, because little by little, that it's like it just kind of takes a little bit away of your self-worth and your self-esteem and how you walk through life when you're not being unto yourself, like what you said you would do. I'm thinking about Karan Rai right now and how his commitment to run 7 marathons in 7 continents in 7 days. And I see all of his posts on various social media, how nothing stops him. The worst weather, the best weather. I mean, he's out there doing what he says he'll do no matter what. It's not a negotiable thing for him. And he's doing it for himself. He's not doing that to impress anyone. And I mean, I'm not going to go run marathons, but I wanted to just say that for a minute. And another really important thing, I mean, this is the really fun thing, is that Steve and I were talking about, I mean, you can be everything that you want to be, or you can talk about being, but then there's the action you need to take out of that, because otherwise it's a philosophical thing. It's theoretical, but it's not actual. So as he was talking about that to me, it was, yes, I want my art to be, I want my originals to be purchased by museums and by individuals. And I want, and I want my art out into the world because I think it matters. And my art is divinely inspired, as I say in my document, and things come through me, and my art is really important to me in that way. But have I done the action part to get my art out into the world? Have I taken the steps to do that? Because stuff just doesn't happen And then we talked about miracles. And this is one of my favorite things. My daughter wanted to buy a house, and they live in a different state in New Mexico. And they hadn't sold their one house yet. So were looking at another house, and they really were hoping that the owner would negotiate with them on the terms that they wanted. And she goes, "Mom, do you have any advice for me?" And I said, after my session with Steve the day before, I said, Jolie, what about this? Like, what about you write a letter to the owner and you tell them what your story is, and you tell them what the deal that you would like to create with them, and ask if they would be interested in participating in the creation of a miracle for your family. And the owner was so touched by that they came back with exactly what my daughter was asking for. And then my daughter also asked another former family member the same thing, like, would you be willing to participate in a miracle? And it has created a healing in our family. It has created the essence of what I was saying before, the processional effects. They met the owners the other day, and the owners can't do enough for them. They're telling them all about, things to do with their children. I mean, so many miracles have happened just in that one little thing. And my daughter called and said, "Mom, I want you to know that you helped, you were there creating the miracle along with me, because you have taught me that." So think about what we could do together, all of us here together, when we all decide to participate in creating miracles for people, not just to get them in the event and then the event's over and then we're like, it was like the holidays. We made it through the holidays. We made it through the event. No, I want to come there and participate with you in the co-creation of miracles for people. And I just know we can do that because I'm watching you guys out, how you're all participating on. I see the post you post on Facebook. I can't wait to meet you in person, but I know you guys are doing so much. And I really appreciate you so much for that. The first thing that comes to my mind is the introduction by Ayanna Van Zandt, because I just heard it again while I was painting the other day. And she said, "Come naked," like with no expectation, just come. And I know you want more, because I know you're wanting to tell people what they can expect when they come there and what will it be like. But think about this. If we just had Christmas yesterday, and like, if you knew everything that was in the package, it would not be fun for you. It's like the anticipation is everything. It's like the excitement about not knowing, but like, I never know what's going to happen when I have the blessing of walking into Steve's office. I never know what's going to happen. I just sit there and I'm open and I surrender to the magic. And I think if you kind of create that for people, the feeling that you're having now, like, you have no idea I have no idea what I'm going to say when I'm there. It's kind of a holy place to be, because you're in this sacred place of love and trust. You can't have one without the other. If you have, nor in a relationship, nor in this event. Like, if we love one another, but we don't trust one another, that doesn't work, or vice versa. If we trust one another, but they're not that, not that important, that, tomorrow's another day. But it's another thing that I'm always blown away by Steve with, is just the story about the young man that he walked past down a dirt road, and there was a double walled fence with a barbed wire on top, where obviously it was some kind of a prison, and some inmate is standing there shooting baskets, and Steve stops to have a conversation with this guy. And that was the creation of a miracle. And I was in Steve's office when he said, "Hey, would you like to participate in creating a miracle for this guy?" And he gets him on he had already gone back and kept his word to go all the way back to that prison and give this guy a book. And the book, the guy was just blown away. So now I'm in Steve's office, and he asked me that question, and he pulls out his phone and he calls the guy and puts me on the phone with him. And that was just such a beautiful experience for me to be able to have something like that happen. So I encourage them. I would go back to all the people that you've talked to, and really encourage them to read the book the way so that they get more out of it, than I did when I first read it. Because now I'm going back through the book many times over, and I'm getting more and more out of it, because I'm not looking at it like a how-to book or that's got some tools in it. Because this is way beyond that. This is like miracle stuff. So I would go back and read the book again yourself, and I'm doing that. And then I would also encourage people to read it, listen to it, participate in the exercises in it. Maybe you can do that with them. I've done that with people. Like when people will ask me, like, well, how do you do this or how do you do that? And I'll say, well, let's talk about it, and let me help you. And it's really been fun for me and rewarding for me, because I see like what happened with my daughter. And we are the example. People are going to look to us and say, like, well, how are you being? Are you influencing me by the way you're being? You're right. So when I read it incorrectly, I shouldn't say that, because I got so much out of it even in that way. But I mean, imagine had I been reading that book about myself, because I was in my like incapacitated kind of, I was captured in my house because of my knee surgery. So I was right there, and that book made me cry, and I was underlining everything in it, but I was reading it about Steve. So if you go back, I'm not sure if it was Gabby or Sarah, but they're talking about, like, every time you open the book, go back and read the back cover and the first couple pages first. Maybe it was someone here on the call, because that really is great. It's like every time you pick up the book to read it, do that so that you can start embodying that greatness. Because if not us, then who is going to, we have talk about a pioneering opportunity to come to India for the first time. And there's something else I wanted to point out. Like, I'm a skier, and when my ski instructor was talking about accumulated error, like you make one bad turn, and then the next one gets a little worse. The next one goes like, stop, get grounded and start over again. But there's also a blessing of accumulated benefit, which is the one I like to focus on. So I have one benefit, like the story with my daughter. And then the next story that evolved out of that, and what she's now believing out of that. And she now brought it up to her 8-year-old son, like, hey, you want to help me co-create a miracle? And they bought him a little hoverboard for Christmas. And he's always been kind of had like trepidation about stuff like that. And so now she's parenting in that way. Think about us and the opportunity we all collectively have. All of you here and all of the names I see. Imagine what's going to happen when we walk out of that room at the end of that day, because the way we walk into that room is we are all a representative of what's in that book. That's amazing to me. That's why I'm coming, because that's the impact that I'm excited to see that we collectively will have. Not just me speaking or Steve, although, I can't even imagine being in front of him and watching him speak, because I've only been one-on-one, and I haven't been able to be in a room like the London room and watch what's going to happen in there. But the impact is going to be profound.
Becky, there's a rumor that anybody who comes to India, they fall in love with India. So I'm just warning you that you might fall in love, and we're going to do whatever it takes to make you fall in love with yourself once again, and of course fall in love with India and all of us. So I know that many people are joining in, and just want to say welcome to everyone. It's so beautiful to see you coming in. I want to say we are in conversation up close and personal with Becky Robbins, and we're just having an intimate conversation about this beautiful book that has transformed all our lives, and of course this incredible event that we're all leading up to. And Becky, you've told us some some really beautiful stuff about how this book has changed and Steve has changed your life. And yeah, so I want to just pause here and acknowledge everybody else who's here on camera and off camera. So thank you. Most of our team is here. Thank you, Saloni, Pooja, Ranjan, Venu. Ranjan is in traveling back. I just want to say a big thank you. We are excited. And for all our friends who are watching live and who are here on the call.
I would love to ask a question. Hi, Becky. This is
Hi.
Go ahead, Saloni.
Yeah, I would love to know what transformations you felt in your being while you were getting coached with Steve. What kind of shifts, it made, especially in being. That's what I would love to know more about.
Wow. Thank you for asking that question, because I said in the beginning, I'm not the same person as I was nearly a year ago. And I've also said, I think I posted this, but for your sake, I'll tell you again that I could say that this has been the worst year of my life and the best year of my life, in that order. And part of it is because my brother died just exactly a year ago, as of a couple of days. And we were very close. And my parents have already died. So he and I were the one and only. And then I had knee surgery. And then, there was such a whole bunch of events like that I could have been victimized by that, made myself feel like a victim, like, oh, my poor brother, and now my knee. And then, and then I got into a business deal with someone who turned out to be dishonest. And that was scary for me. Like, how am I going to get out of that? And then I met Steve. And for me to be able to have time with him, first of all, I find it to be miraculous, because he's one man, and I was able to get into, for the beginning session with him, a be with session with him, and I expanded that to the 10 sessions. And then I just thought, I can't not do this, because exactly of what you asked me, Saloni, because of the transformations that I could feel happening within me. That I mean, you've probably read in the book where they say Steve can be intense, right? And you know what? The only time I have felt like, I just got chills thinking about this. The only time I have felt like that kind of intensity, it was like he stood up and he was saying, do you not get how powerful you are? Can you just get how powerful? Will you please just get that, in the way that he said it? And he was standing up and pacing and like loud. And I thought, like, oh my gosh, like, I got it in that moment. It's like, we are that. And we here, those of us who are participating in this miraculous opportunity, because that's what we really have, is to spread something so far and wide in the way that people get to live their lives. And you know what? There is not a more important time. I mean, if you follow the people that are speaking out right now about the Great Awakening, or this is, time of massive evolution for people. I mean, I'm very tuned into that. And so this to me is not something that I can take my time with. I mean, Steve pointed out something not too long ago called QTR. Have you heard of that? Yeah. Quality time remaining. I mean, that creates urgency in me. I mean, how much quality time do I have? And of course, today could be the last day, or it could be 20 years or 30 years from now, but I don't know. So and that doesn't mean I'm worried about, like, oh my God, I got to get all this done. It's not that. It's just that I have a belief in myself and what we are all about. And that's the biggest part of the transformation, Saloni, is that I have a belief in myself that I'm here not to find my life's purpose, but to find my life's service. And everybody's trying to find out what's my purpose and what am I here for and all that. Without the service part there, it's empty.
Wow. That's beautiful. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that, Becky.
I think Venu, who's actually now using our leader, Ranjan Kumar's Zoom meeting. So you'll see him now coming. I think you wanted to ask a question, right? Venu,
Yes,
go ahead.
yes, Paras. First of all, thank you, Becky Robbins, for coming live to our Indian team and all the world team. So thank you so much, and namaste to you, and welcome to India on February 25th. So we are eagerly waiting for your magnificent presence, and you are a miracle, and thank you so much for that. So, and here a lot of guests are there, and it is also live for 18,000 people, and so today to a Facebook page. So thank you so much for that. So, and here our core team members are here, and Pooja, Saloni, and of course Farah, you know, and Ranjan Kumar is on travel, but he is one who created this powerful Indian edition of the Ultimate Experience. So I just want to ask one question that now we have 2 months time, and this February 25th in Mumbai in Sahara Star. This is happening one time. So this is a third event after Arizona, and then second one is London. Third one is in India, and we don't know when will it happen in the world again. There's a one opportunity for Indians to participate in this being momentum. So everyone asks, like any summit or conference before attending, what would I get from this? But we have nothing to say. But here it is said that experience. So what is the one sentence or one word you say, they get it coming to this ultimate experience? We know we are all doing voluntarily, and whatever the profit comes goes to a charity. What is the one miracle experience we people who participate will get it? Yes, over to you, Becky.
Okay, well, two things. One is I'm going to answer. I think I already answered it, but I'm going to answer it in another way. And then after me, I would like for you to unmute Steve so he could answer the same question. Telling people what they can experience. First of all, if you are not, it's almost like your energy, you know, like when an animal is like can sense if you're afraid, or an animal can sense, you know, that kind of a thing. People, we have that sense, that sensitivity to be around somebody and know who they are. It's like there's a field around us, like an energy field around us that affects everybody around us. So number one, it's like, who are we being? And so before you try and talk somebody into coming to the event, or before you try and talk someone into reading the book, it's all about me first. And it's all about you first. It's like, who am I authentically being that people can count on? And I find that to be really powerful. That's one thing. And then I also feel like people are looking for an answer and looking for a miracle. And I think if they show up having read the book and having had interaction with you, it's not just that. It's like Steve was talking to me about conversation the other day, about everything starts with a conversation, but the conversation is an ongoing thing, right? So I'm talking to you, we've talked again and again. I'm happy to talk to you again after this if you like. And for me, talking about it is like me living it and being it, because I'm involved with the most amazing tribe of people I've ever known in my lifetime. This combination of folks has never happened before. So to offer people that kind of a deep connection and friendship, I think that's one thing we're missing. And I wasn't at the London event, so I haven't been there. But I'll tell you one last thing before I want Steve to say something. The very last thing that Amy said, and I got to watch the video replay of it, is that we need one another. I mean, that's just like, after everything that she said, the last thing she said is we need one another. And you can't see it because maybe I can move my screen for 1 second, but in my document, I say, I belong here. And the reason why I said I belong here is because I had felt like, going through the process that it takes to do your document, that I was irrelevant in certain circumstances. You heard me talk about the business deal. I felt irrelevant. I felt that I wasn't necessary, that where do I belong now? Because I'm so different from others. And, and I am different from others. We all are, right? But I felt like, wow, where do I even fit in? And so I put in my document, I belong here. After listening to what Amy said at the end of that London event, we belong to each other. That was so powerful for me. And I had it made into a sign that is, I posted it on the big Facebook page. I can post it again on the India Facebook page if you like, but it's a beautiful neon sign that says, we belong to one another, and we here belong to one another. And to give people an opportunity to be a part of this, those people that come into that room, I mean, oh my gosh, Steve, I want you to talk. Can you unmute him, Farah?
I'm unmuted, I believe. Am I?
Yes,
Yeah.
you are, Steve.
So
We can
first
hear
of all,
you, Steve.
thank you for giving me a moment. I don't know how we're doing on time, and I certainly don't want to encroach upon the time. So let me know if I have 1 minute or if I have 3 minutes, or Steve, you're already done. You're too long. Did somebody respond to me on that?
Steve, please go ahead. We'd love to hear from you.
Okay. So first of all, I haven't been able to see anyone. I wish I could have. I'm just not really quite the technology wizard. You'll notice that when I try to, speak into a mic, I'm very untalented. So thank you for everyone that's on this call. Becky, thank you for the brilliant job you've done. There's hardly anything I could say to add to what she's done. It's been so brilliant. So the one thing that I might be able to add is this. Most of the time in life, we have life turned around backwards. Like many times in a relationship, somebody looks at it like, what can I get out of this relationship? Many times people go to stuff, say, what can I get out of this? They're selling something. Certainly I'm going to get something out of it. Like it's a transaction. The Ultimate Experience India edition, what I call the Miracle in Mumbai, is not a transactional relationship. It's a beingness relationship. It's who can I be? What can I bring into the room to give to others? You have 500 people, none coming to take, but all coming to give. There will be things they've never heard before in their life. Someone could get up in front of the audience and read out of a phone book, and there'd be transformation because somebody isn't coming just to get something. So what someone's going to do is they're going to read the book about them, have a shift in their state of being, so that when they come in the room, they're part of the reason all of us are going. They're going to give, and we're all going to give. Becky wasn't in London, but short version so you can get an idea of my experience of why the book's so important. In London, I asked the people who'd read the book, if you read the book with the back cover, then the front 2 pages, and you actually felt the shift in your being, stand up. So there were 500 people in the audience, X number, it wasn't all 500, but great majority stood up. And then I said, for all of you that read the back cover, and then the first 2 pages of the book, and you do that every time you'd restart the book, and you really shifted your being, stay remaining standing. I didn't see anybody sit down. Then I said to the entire group, this is the answer to the question, like, what's somebody going to get? They could get their whole soul. They get their whole state of being. I said, you're the one who shifted your state of being by the way you read that book. I said, there's only one person in this room that should sign that book for you, and that is you, the one that did the shifting of the being. I signed exactly 0 books in London. Got plenty of loves and hugs, but people knew the book isn't about me, it's about them. In India, I'm not against signing the book, but the book's not about me, the book's about you. Say we have 500 people, say we have however many people, I won't be signing books. Guess who'll be signing the books? The person the event's about, and that's about their state of being. So bring us your best state of being. What you're going to get from there is you're going to get you. You're going to find out who you are. What an experience. Thanks for letting me share. I love you all. Thanks for your work.
Becky, isn't that incredible? Listening to Steve and really, knowing that it's all about me. I'm going to be the one who creates that shift, and it's not something that we want to get from someone in that event. So if anyone is listening about this event in India and wanting to know what's the outcome. It's you finding yourself, finding you. And thank you, Steve.
If you would, the book, the title is called The Ultimate Coach, but the way we address it so people can understand it, we call it the Book of Being, entitled The Ultimate Coach. Because what someone will find out after they read it is it's not about coaching, it's about being. And the ultimate state of being is love. And when you coach from that, you are the ultimate coach, whether you're leading, managing, being a parent. It's also available on Kindle and Audible for those that might be easier for. Thank you so much for what you've done. I am so looking forward to the experience that people have in India. I'm so excited to be in India.
Wonderful, Steve. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, we can.
Brilliant. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Becky, I love you. I love you. Wow.
Thank you.
I'm so moved by you and your art. Your art. You are kind of what this event is all about. You're a living piece of art. And I see, the divine. My question for you is about the divinity coming through you and how it's being expressed through you. So kind of, I'm interested in. I love your art. If anyone's ever check out Becky's art, because it's absolutely stunning. So I'm really interested to know what's coming through for you now as you're reading the book about yourself.
Thank you. You're so kind. I so appreciate you. Thank you so much. You know what's so amazing is that my art has been inspired for a long time. I mean, like the way I work is something comes through me, and there's an interference. I'll keep talking. But the art comes through me in such a powerful way. The ideas come, and then I research what that was, and then it's just really powerful for me. But now, shall we see how that we can unmute or mute everybody or something? There we go. Okay.
I will do that.
So I about 3 or 4 months ago. First of all, my paintings are all around me. They take almost a year to do. They're really big, and they have lots of individual images that all kind of create their own story as the process goes. And a few months ago, Steve said to me, Becky, as a possibility, which means I always say yes, because all of his possibilities are so powerful. And he said, as a possibility, I would like for you to start a new painting and have it be a painting of your document that comes from your document. Amazing. So chills again. So I have my painting that's in the hallway that was probably had like 3 or 4 months to go on it. So that means I've been doing it for a while. And then the one right behind me is my document in art. And so it is every time I walk up to this painting, which I'm on my to-be list, it's to be more have more time to paint my paintings. But when I add under my to-be list, it's to be inspired, to be creative, to be organized in my studio, to create the time required and to create a miracle when I walk in here. So thank you, Andrea, for that, because I'm painting my document now. So as I go with the different images, I'll keep posting that on Facebook, on our mutual Facebook page. But thank you for your amazing, kind words. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Andrea. And thank you, Becky. And I want to invite Pooja, and she has her hand up. So Pooja, would you like to go next?
Yeah, thank you, Farah. And I want to thank Becky for your time, and then loved being in your presence. And like Andrea said, I really love your paintings. Really admired them. Thank you, Steve, for your time, for being with us. And thank you, Farah, for creating this. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pooja. I just want to say that we value everybody's time to be here. I know it's morning for you and it's late for us, for many in India as well. Just holding on to all this beautiful space that we have created, talking about the power of being you, being authentically you, and the power of this book, and how we're reading it before the event to come in and have that experience, which is really, just want to say thank you to everyone. Becky, you have showed us how this has touched you. And one word that's staying with me is how you can create this miracle for ourselves and others. Miracles is something that's really staying in my head.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate this chance to be with all of you. This has just been a beautiful morning for me. Thank you. And I would like to say in closing, a couple of things. One is that about the miracles, like Steve said, that's stuck with me, and is how I mentioned this to my daughter, is that miracles are not just sitting out here and then all of a sudden they pop through and there's another one that pops. It's like, it's not that random. We are the ones who say yes to the universe, or yes to whatever it is. We say yes. And then when we say yes, that we're open to making something happen for someone, or in someone's life, or in service to someone, and giving them a chance to participate in creating something. To me, that's just pure magic. It's just pure magic. And the other thing I wanted to say is, Alan Thompson and I are friends. We're texting friends because he's in Australia and I'm here in the States. And with all of the conversation around the book, I mean, if he hadn't listened to that nudge that he says he got from the nudge to write this book, and kept asking Steve, and the answer was no, because Steve is so humble, he doesn't need a book written about him. But what if Alan hadn't done that? I said that to him the other day. I said, because he also is humble about it. And it's like, no, really, like, how did that even happen, that you created that? I mean, to think if he hadn't done that, the impact that this is having, because we all get to use that now as this amazing piece of inspiration for all of us, and then all the people that we are creating miracles with and for in their lives. I mean, if you think about all the people that you've spoken with so far and will be speaking with, and the potential of creating something miraculous in their lives, I mean, isn't that the most amazing thing that we could offer to people, especially now at this time in history that's never happened before? I mean, and in India, that's already a country that's open spiritually to more growth and more expansion. I mean, I'm just about expanding myself right now by helping other people, and first me, so I can be a representative of all of this. So thank you for the opportunity to talk with all of you. I feel close to you. I can't wait to see you in person, and we will have like the most amazing time together. Thank you so much.
This has been brilliant. I've learned a ton for myself of who I can be today and what's going on in my world. So thank you for your contribution to my life, each and every one of you. I appreciate it. That's it. I love you. Thank you, Becky, for being you. Thank you, Pooja. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Ranjan. Thank you, everyone.